What's up? It's Rob from FLX with your Babymaker production update of the week. First off, a huge thank you to Ben and the team for filling in for me last week for both the update and the live. I've actually been at home nursing a broken leg, so that's been fun. Anyways, we do have some factory footage to share with you guys this week. And just a quick reminder before we get started, we do have a live tomorrow, Wednesday, June 30th at 2 p.m. PDT. If you want to learn more about the Babymakers, ask us any questions you've got, or meet more of the team, please tune in tomorrow at 2 p.m. Without further ado, here is the factory footage, and this is from our facility number 1 in China, where the majority of the Babymakers are being built. So here we are on the line of the factory, the assembly line here. You see some Tangerine Babymaker Pros there on the line. We've got Sterling Babymaker Pro. No, that's a Babymaker Standard, actually. You can tell from the chain. Tangerine Standard, Berry Standard, Blue Raspberry Standard. Getting the wheel on, the motor wheel. And all those beautiful bikes being built right now. Super exciting. Next here, we've got ready to load in a container. You notice these are not complete bikes. These are all components. So we've got wheels there, motor wheels. We have the Magura brakes. This is all of the parts needed to build Babymakers. These are being sent to Spain, where they will be turned into beautiful Babymakers and sent to our backers in the UK and Europe. So all these parts were loaded for shipment last week. Next, we've got a photo of some matte black, blue raspberry, tangerine, sterling silver, and berry Babymakers all assembled, ready to go. Back on the production line here, we've got kiwi, blue raspberry. These are pros, matte black, pro, sterling standard, and then a matte black standard. The way I tell, by the way, is just from the chain versus belt drive. That's the easiest distinction. And back behind it, another matte black standard being worked on. Looks like it's getting its kickstand installed. Tangerine standard, working on the brake wiring. All the brakes are internally wired, the brake lines, so you don't have these ugly wires, ugly hoses, wires on the outside of the bike frame. They go through it, keeps it nice and sleek and tight. This part of the factory floor is where all of the completed bikes go. Here we've got some Sterling matte black. These are 19-inch frames, by the way. A mix of 19 and 23s. And these are all assembled. What they do is they go through a final QC checklist, going through all the systems, the list, make sure everything performs as it should, and then it is signed off and packaged. So it gets the packaging on, the styrofoam, the cardboard, zip ties, the front wheel is dropped, the handlebars are dropped, and it's inserted into a box. More from that testing area, you see there are a few technicians working on a couple bikes here, so they are either testing those bikes or making some final tweaks to make sure everything is in spec before they are sent off. Now see here some packaging is going on. These gentlemen are preparing the bikes for packaging. On the right, you do see the boxes, which are ready to go, opened up. All that needs to be done next is to drop the bike into the package with all the packaging around it. Here you'll see some protective packaging on the fork for that last bike, and more of those beautiful bikes ready to go. And a lot of 19-inch frames. I know many people are waiting on those. There's a couple 23s mixed in there as well, but very, very exciting to see. On the end there, I do see 2 Blade 2.0s as well. Very exciting. In the background, you'll see a load of completed Babymakers boxed up and ready to ship. Some more work on the line here. Some matte black Babymaker Pros, halfway assembled. This technician in the back here is working on the handlebars. So those are completed separately. The handlebar grip is applied, the brakes are added on, and then once the bike is also almost completed, those handlebars are added to it, kind of a 2-step process. Back in the inspection area, more inspections going on in back, more bikes ready to go. And keep in mind, this footage is taken over the course of about a week. So these are all different days in the factory. If it seems repetitive, it is the same location, and the same thing goes on day after day, building more and more Babymakers to ship to your door. There we've got kiwi, blue raspberry, loads of blue raspberries being packaged for shipment. Very exciting. That is the lighter of the blue raspberry colors. As we have mentioned, there are multiple shades of it due to the availability of paints from 2 different factories with 2 different paint suppliers, both of which are very beautiful in my opinion. All right, these Babymakers are being loaded. The last ones in this 40-foot container. I believe this is C23 or 24, which will have 200 plus Babymakers on a 40-foot container. So here this container is mostly loaded. You see Babymakers there in back. Looks like we've got touring packages as well as 2 standard bikes. Those may be the Blade 2.0s we saw earlier. In this image, while we're waiting for components, etc., at that factory, we do also produce our other bikes. So you see some Bandit frames here. Super exciting. We do have a load of those in progress as well. Those are some Bandits on the lines. That's a much heavier bike than the Babymaker. There are the Bandit wheels, those nice aluminum mag wheels, super cool, both front and back with the motor wheel. All right, that is it for the factory footage that I've got this week. We should have more for you next week. With that, let's get into the global shipping status. Starting off in the US, we have T6-2, which has been shipping. There was a small issue with that where duplicate labels were made and duplicate bikes were sent out. That has been resolved. FedEx has recalled the duplicate shipments and they continue to ship those out to the original buyer they were intended for. So minor catastrophe avoided there. T6-2, the status is still shipping due to that setback. Container C21, the SM Ningbo, also had a small challenge. The brakes on the chassis for that container were seized. This is at a FedEx processing facility, so they literally can't move the container because the brakes are stuck. It's crazy, but they're sending out a mechanic to resolve that issue, bring the container into the FedEx warehouse, and then ship those bikes out from there. So it should be this week, possibly early next week for C21 bikes to ship out. On that container is 189 Babymakers and 220 touring kits. T7-1 on the Costco Taicang that has berthed, cleared customs, and arrived at FedEx. 225 Babymakers, and they will start shipping this week. T7-2 and T7-3, which were both on the OOCL Luxembourg. 451 total Babymakers between those 2 containers. Those are due to arrive on the 4th of July. Hopefully, everybody's not taking the day off there and it can clear customs shortly after and ship from there. C22 on the CSCL South China Sea, berthed at Long Beach. It has 222 Babymakers. It cleared customs and is now awaiting at FedEx. C23 on the ship Joseph Schultz sailed on June 26th. That was 221 Babymakers. I believe those were in the factory footage we just sent you. And it has one more stop in China before moving on to the US. It will likely be fulfilled in July when it arrives and gets to FedEx. Allocation letters for this container will be sent at the end of this week. The next container, which is in progress at the moment, that is C24. We're awaiting details as far as the shipment of that. That's got 202 Babymakers on it, and we'll update you as soon as we have more info on it. The final container from our second facility in China, T8 on the NYK Themis, that is due on June 30th. There are 140 Babymakers on that container. Allocation letters for that container were sent on June 21st. As far as Hawaii and Alaska go, there are 8 more bikes on C20 and T7 for Hawaii, and 6 more in C23 and C24. That will be all of the Hawaii bikes. For Alaska, 5 more on T7 and 4 on C23. Again, finishing all of the Alaska shipments. Super exciting there. The majority of LVL bikes, low volume location bikes, have shipped already, with the exception of a handful of locations where it's very, very challenging to ship there. So we have been reaching out to certain individuals. If you are on an island, for example, or a country where it's just either extremely hard or extremely expensive to get the bike there, to work with you to figure something out. If you haven't heard from us regarding your bike in a low volume location, you can expect to hear from us very soon on that, so please hang tight. That brings us to the EU and UK, where we left off there. We were finalizing agreements with carriers to bring bikes into the EU. We have finalized an agreement with DHL. We're signing that as we speak and pray to God that those bikes will begin moving this week. We'll keep you updated on that, and I'll share more information on it later. As far as shipment statuses, NL4, which had 129 Babymakers on it, that's at our warehouse now, again, awaiting the carrier to begin shipping those. UK3, 131 Babymakers, that continues to ship as VAT is paid. There are a handful of folks who have not paid their VAT on those bikes for the UK yet. As soon as it gets paid, those bikes can move. SP8 with 144 Babymakers, that is also at the warehouse. Again, it's a mix of UK and EU bikes. So the UK folks who have paid the VAT on that bikes have been shipping out from there. EU still awaiting the carrier, as all other EU bikes. SP9 with 144 Babymakers on it arrived at the warehouse on June 21st. That had 30 UK orders on it, so those bikes will be going out EU, awaiting the carrier as well. SP10, 144 Babymakers, that will ship out of Spain as early as July 2nd. Again, pending the carrier. Hopefully they will begin moving this week. Container C13, which had components to continue building bikes for Europe and the UK, that has shipped out this week, and we're awaiting the ship name on that. The touring kits for EU and UK orders are being prepared as we speak. Those will ship soon, and we'll keep you updated on that. That brings us to our challenge section. This week there have been a few challenges. One is the ongoing carrier for European bikes to ship from the UK into Europe. As mentioned earlier, we've been working our asses off to sort that out and get the bikes moving. Bikes are still being built in the background, so it's not slowing down bike production as well, but it is slowing down the delivery of the bikes for the EU. We have finalized an agreement with DHL, just needs to be signed, which I believe Troy is doing today. And if there are no further hiccups, those bikes will be moving this week. We will keep you posted on that. The next challenge is the T6-2 duplicate labeling that we mentioned earlier in the US status update. Duplicate labels were created for some bikes. Duplicate bikes got sent out, so 2 bikes for 1 order from T6-2, which caused an issue where a lot of folks who were supposed to get bikes, there were no bikes left on that container for them. Luckily, that error was caught in time. The bikes have been recalled and they will be sent out. They didn't even get delivered, so just a matter of getting the bikes back and resent to the correct address. A similar issue happened in the UK, however, on a smaller scale. The warehouse there mislabeled 4 bikes, one from SP8 and one from UK3, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but the issue is being resolved as we speak. The bikes are being collected. We've reached out to the backers and sending them on to the correct people. All right, that is it for today's production update. That's everything I have. Thank you everybody for your patience, especially the folks in Europe, as we work to get the carrier sorted. Praying to God that it will be resolved this week and the bikes will go out to you. Again, this isn't fun for us, having to sort out the new carrier and everything. The whole purpose of that is to save you tax dollars, as we were recommended by our accountants to do that, to minimize or eliminate a VAT payment for EU orders. So thank you for waiting for us to sort that out and get it handled. It's taken longer than we expected, but bikes will be going out. They've all been built. They're just waiting in the warehouse to be shipped to you. Again, thanks for watching this update. If you enjoyed it, like, comment, subscribe. I hope to see you in the live tomorrow, and I'll see you next time.